Hi folks, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to do a kind of tabletop review on my 2020 4-inch barreled Colt Python in stainless steel 357 Magnum. I've had it since the middle of October. It's now almost the end of December. We're getting up to New Year's Day here, pretty close. So about 2.5 months thereabouts of shooting it. Got 850 rounds through it, almost exactly. I started loading a full box of projectiles, and I have finished the box, and I have about 3 boxes worth left. So right about 850 rounds through the gun. I've been happy with it. I'm satisfied. If that's all you want to know, well, there's the end of the video, I guess. But let's talk about why did I get this, because I didn't really plan on buying this for a long time. It kind of just happened. And why did that happen? I went to the store to look for a Ruger GP100, and they had one. I looked at it, but then this beautiful finish caught my eye. I mean, it just shines in the case. And so I took a look at it, and that was, after handling the Colt, I was not going to be leaving that gun shop with a Ruger GP100 anymore. Handling it, the thing that really caught my attention was this. The way that cylinder latches in with just a certain firmness. It doesn't clank like some other revolvers do. Actually, I've got handy here, for the sake of comparison, my old Smith & Wesson model 66 K-frame, and it's just not, it's not as smooth. When you're latching it in, there's more resistance. It's tinnier sounding. When it gets out, it's kind of just really loosey-goosey. It's not as nice feeling. The Colt just has a certain smoothness and a feeling of quality. I think part of it may be the spring-loaded crane retaining plunger thing, because it adds a little resistance to the cylinder closure. And then I think just the latch with all that surface area, it feels solid when it goes together. So I like that. I mean, it's a revolver. The enjoyment of handling it is important, and I enjoy handling this. I just enjoy opening and closing the cylinder on it. It feels good to do that. I enjoy looking at it. It's got a beautiful finish. I mean, it's really, really just shines, especially out in the sunlight. It is a brilliant shine. Really wonderful. Shooting it has been good. I mainly shoot it on steel plates, so I'm not going to give you a hard number on accuracy. When I have shot it on paper, it is accurate. It is not an inaccurate revolver. I may not be the best assessor of how accurate it can be, but I found it to be plenty acceptable in accuracy. The sights are quite good. You have a nice orange front ramp, the blacked out rear. Let's see if I can get through the camera here and line it up for you. But yeah, pretty typical of a target revolver sight. It's adjustable on the rear. One thing that I do have as a complaint is that the windage here has a screw that is used to lock it down, and that was loose from the factory. I believe it's I don't want to lie to you, but it's a small little Allen wrench, and this was loose, and it would walk if you didn't tighten it down. Speaking of things that were loose, the rear side plate screw was also loose. So it had 2 deficiencies there. Those should have been tight from the factory. They weren't. The side plate screw never caused me any problems, probably because it's the rear one and the grips were holding everything together. I mean, it couldn't fall out. It couldn't really even allow the side plate to come off very much. And it wasn't perceptible until taking the grips off and then checking the tightness of it. The front one was tight. The crane screw was tight. Everything else has been fine, but those 2 screws, windage screw for the side and the rear side plate screw, were loose. I guess the only other deficiency, if I can find it, is it actually came with a small blemish, which is a complaint that you hear, unfortunately, fairly frequently on these. I think I found it here, but I don't know if I can actually get it to show up on camera. It's on the edge of the lightning cut on the cylinder. Right. Can I get to it? So I can find something to point to it with. Here's a little pin. Right here. It's almost imperceptible. But I think what that was is they ship it with a lock, which I have since removed from the case. And I think the lock rattled up against it. Maybe some steel component of the lock, and caused that very small scratch there. It's not a big deal to me. I bought it to shoot it, but that could definitely irk some people. But it's been good. The double action has always been quite smooth. It doesn't stack very hard at the end. It's more of just a smooth roll through, which it's not really what I'm used to, but I'm fine with it. It's good. The single action I found initially to be kind of disappointing. It wasn't the worst thing ever. It was fairly crisp, but it was quite heavy. I mean, really pretty heavy. After, I don't know how much dry firing, maybe 500 to 1,000 dry firings and 850 rounds through it. So figures somewhere around, 1,500 to 2,000 cycles in total. Because I do mainly shoot it in single action mode, just because I treat it as a target revolver. I don't really treat it as anything other than that. It's lightened up a lot. Initially, I was really inclined to get some trigger work done to it, either doing it myself or having someone that specializes in these do it. And after shooting it for a little while, and maybe it's just me getting used to it, I don't think it is. I think it's actually worn in some, smoothed out. It got a lot better just from being shot. In addition, I took it apart, put a little bit of grease on the relevant engagement surfaces in there, and that seemed to make some difference, but mainly just shooting it really helped. At this point now, it isn't quite as nice as like an older Smith trigger that I'm more familiar with. I don't have an old Python to compare it to, but it's perfectly usable. I don't have any plans now of having it altered in any way. It's acceptable. It's actually pretty good. I mean, I'm giving it a little bit of a hard time, but it's not bad. But yeah, it shoots great. I really like the 4-inch barrel. I know some folks definitely prefer the 6, but I like the kind of the balance and the proportions of the 4-inch. That's more subjective personal preference. So unfortunately, they're not perfect revolvers as they come from Colt. There are some little problems. You have a loose screw, a very small scratch wherever it went. Sometimes it's actually hard to find right there. Very small scratch. Yeah, you kind of can see it when the light changes there. But overall, great revolver. I've had fun with it. Folks I've taken to the range have enjoyed shooting it. It's beautiful. It feels good. It shoots great. It's been reliable. Just check your screws for tightness. If you're buying it, new from the store, maybe insist on taking out the plastic and wiping it down with a soft cloth and just checking for any blemishes if that's something that would bother you. I don't find it particularly bothersome. I didn't contact Colt about it. I don't care. But if you're buying one and that is something that would be bothersome to you, check it over for that first. I think there have been some complaints about the crown. This one, I can't perceive of any deficiency in it there. It looks good. Yeah. It's been a fun revolver, and that's about all I had to say about it. So thanks for watching. If you decide to get one, I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't, then, well, hopefully I helped you save a little bit of money. So Happy New Year, folks, and I'll catch you next time. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you.